Hey, how you doing? Justin here. Today we're checking out the first solo in Tunnel of Love by Dire Straits, featuring, of course, the incredible Mark Knopfler, as well as teaching you how to play the solo. I want to take you a little bit through the genius of his playing and the way he plays out of the chords, because it's real special. And if you understand conceptually what's going on, it'll help you be able to utilize these licks and techniques and ideas in your own playing and in your own improvisation. So I'm hoping that you'll dig all of that. I'm going to start off with a slow playthrough of the whole solo for the quick learners that just want to kind of see where it's all at, and then I'm going to take you through each lick one at a time, explain different approaches to playing it, the rhythm of the actual lick itself, and possibly how he was thinking about it and where the harmony's coming from each solo. So let's get to that close up. Okay, one phrase at a time. The first one is this. This is played over an F chord. Starting off here on the 13th fret bar in the thinnest two strings, and then hammering the third finger down in the 15th fret of the second string very quickly on and off. Then we move that first finger down to the 10th fret and we play the thinnest two strings again. Very short, these notes. Down to the 8th fret, same thing. Then we're playing the 5th fret and the 6th fret on the thinner string and the second string. Then 8th fret on the second string, 6th fret, and then 7th fret on the third string. Potentially twice. I'm not sure if I hear that second one. If it is played, it's very, very short. Let's talk about the rhythm of that lick for a second. I'll count it out first and then talk about it a little bit more detail. So we got 1, 2, 3 and a 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So these first two notes are 16th notes where the third finger's coming off. That's beat 4. Okay? 1, 2, 3 E and a 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Okay, really important that you get the rhythm right, but you can either do it by counting or listening. Both of those things are going to be really effective. The thing that really makes this lick is those three being really, really tight and short. Okay, and again, like I said, I'm not sure. Might just be that. Sometimes I feel like I can hear that note there on beat 1 as well. So the first lick, 1, 2, 3. The second phrase, just going to take you through that much. It's played over the D minor. We've got this 10, 13, 10 hammer on flick off. The rhythm's the same as the previous lick, which I'll talk about in a second. 13th fret on the second string, back to 10th fret on the thinner string, 13th fret tone bend on the second string, 10th fret on the thinner string, 10th fret on the second string. You'll have to roll that first finger over to get that note. I didn't position it very well in that little demo bit, but anyway. So from here, the finger's going a little flatter so you can roll over onto it. You might have been working on that with some of the pentatonic exercises I've been teaching lately. The rhythm, like I said, the first two notes are 16th notes, finishing on beat 4, so it's the starting on the and after 3. 1, 2, 3 E and a 4 and 1 and 2 and. Now the next phrase, a real classic Knopfler phrase. This one, it's fantastically. Okay, we're going 11th fret to 10th fret flick off, 12th fret on the third string, back to 10th fret on the second string, back to 12th fret on the third string, flicking off to the 10th fret, 12th fret on the 4th string, 10th fret, sliding up to 12th fret with a big vibrato. Really lovely vibrato on that last note. Can really, it rings out in a beautiful way. His tone's fantastic on this. Anyway, the trick with this one, if there's such a thing as a trick, is the way that you pick it. So it wants to be thumb, flick off, thumb, index, thumb, flick off, thumb, index, and I think that last one's a slide. Yeah, you could pick it, I can't remember. I think it sounds better as a slide to me. And these are 16th notes. 3E and a 4E and a 1. 3E and a 4E and a 1. Let me just do it up to that point nice and slow with a count for you. So 1, 2, 3E and a 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and a 4 and 1 and 2 and 3E and a 4E and a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. That's a lovely little phrase, this one. Okay, so I'm using my little finger on the 11th fret of the second string. I'm using my second finger. Some people prefer using their third finger for this bend. I find it a lot easier to keep it accurate using my second finger, but it's up to you which one you want to put there on the 10th fret of the third string. And that's going to do a tone bend. Now again, that beautiful finger style thing he's got going on, probably first and second fingers doing that. Then it's going to drop down, so you play it when it's up, drop it down, play it again. Then you've got this kind of slightly awkward slide where the second finger is going to stay connected to the string and slide down to the 7th fret. First finger is going to play the 6th fret on the second string. Okay, rhythmically we're starting on the offbeat again. 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Really important, that rhythm. It really wants to land nice and solid there on the beat 3. This next lick is a real rock and roll classic phrase, and it kind of deserves a lesson all unto its own. Basically, we're bending the 5th fret on the 2nd and 3rd string, but the 2nd string is going to go up a semitone and the 3rd string is going to go up a tone. So in fact we get this. Now, I'm not sure if Mark's using 2 fingers. I find it easier to use my 3rd and 4th fingers for this particular trick. Helps keep the balance there. You can get it. There we go. I find it a bit hit and miss. If I just use my 3rd finger and pull down, it's not quite. If I do it quickly, it's kind of more likely to stay in. It's just whether the strings get dragged too close together. If you use separate fingers, they seem to keep the right distance apart for the in-tuneness to work properly. So the phrase itself is going 1 E and 2 and a 3, 4 and 1. So it's 16th notes. 1 E and 2 E and a 3, 4 and 1. Just finishing 5th fret, 3rd fret, 2nd fret. Really, really, again, this is another little great classic Knopfler phrase here. Open G string, 2nd fret on the 3rd string still. Now this is a little F power chord. Okay, 3rd fret and 5th fret in the middle 2 strings. and then to the 5th fret on the middle 2 strings. Okay, F, you can hear, whatever, it's an F to part of that C chord. Now we've got this, so the rhythm for that one too, so 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3, 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... It's the phrase at the end, lovely. Another, I mean, this is just full, it's only a short solo, but it's got so many classic Knopfler things going on. So this is 6th fret, 7th fret on the 2nd and 3rd strings. And then we've got this real tight, then flicking it off to the 5th fret, with the first finger doing a little mini bar. Hammering them back on, then hammering the 5th fret on the middle 2 strings, 7th fret. For the 2 on the 7th fret, I tend to use fingers 3 and 4, but you could choose to use other fingers if you wanted. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then 1 and 2 and a 3 and 4 and. This little part's a bit mucky in the mix. I was having trouble really hearing it clearly, but I think this is what's going on. 1 and 2 and a 3 and 4 and. So 3rd fret, 5th fret on the 5th string, hammer on to the 3rd fret on the 3rd string. 1 E and 2 and a 7, 5 on the 4th string, 8, 5 on the 5th string. 1 E and 2 and a 3 and 4 and. Let me do a quick playthrough of the whole thing nice and slowly with the count now, and then I'll take you through and start to explain some of the harmony that's going on and the way he's using this stuff. So just from the top, 2, 3 and a 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and a 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and a 4 and a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So now I want to talk a little bit more conceptually about what's going on and how you might incorporate using these licks in your own improvisations, because I think that's where you get real value learning other people's solos. It's not just learning the actual solo itself, as fun and as wonderful as that is. If you can learn to separate it into parts and be able to use those phrases and use your licks in your own way, I think that can be important. And particularly with Mark Knopfler, the way he makes the chord changes is real special, and it's worth paying attention to that aspect of his solos. The very first phrase is in F, so you've got that. It's a little phrase that the first part's played over. So this, it's very, very much in F, and you could use that, all of those little phrases in any other combination that you wanted to. This, I mean, that's just classic kind of Hendrixy thing. This phrase, I mean, this is a real common thing as well, this playing the 8th fret, just hammering the 10th fret on. When you play the 10th fret both notes, you end up with this kind of F6 to F9 to these last two notes. This is just part of a C-shape F chord. Okay, you could see this. It's a nice way of kind of seeing it relative to the chords. So it'd be a really cool thing just to put on a little F loop on a looper pedal or back and track or whatever. and just take the lick and experiment with it over the F chord and really see the way this is part of the top part of that F chord. This is based around this kind of A-shaped F. That lick is based around this. Now he finishes it, really hammers that D, and that's exactly when the chord changes to the D chord. And that's one of those things about the way he plays, is he really explains musically where the harmony is. Like, there's no doubt when you hear the solo on its own, you can kind of hear the chords going on, even without a backing track. And that's because he really outlines the harmony so well. So that's where it's gone to that. Now he's got... Now that's really D minor-y. It's a pentatonic lick, D minor pentatonic. And definitely, again, a phrase that you should nick and steal and work into your own improvisations. Don't just leave it as a thing that you only play in this song. It's a great phrase. Nick it. Now, in the rhythm, so it's going F, F, C, he ignores, but here there's a little bit, 2 beats where he's playing on the B flat. And here, this is outlining the B flat chord. There's the B flat. Now he's even starting the phrase on the B flat, which is where the chord changes. So it's exactly, he's playing the root note of each chord on the beat where the chord changes. That's really clever, you know. And when he slides up to here, to that G, he's doing it at exactly the time that the chord changes to the C. And it's outlining it. It's saying, hey, we've moved to the C. We've gone da-bu-dibby-dabby-dibby-da. And that's really this wonderful thing about the way he's making the changes. He's really showing the listener what's going on in the song with the harmony. Now here, this part, it's kind of making it, it's adding a B flat to a C chord, which makes it like a C7. So as soon as he does this, you're kind of hearing it as a C7 sound, which is not played in the harmony, but it's definitely in the key. We're in the key of F. The 5 chord is a C7 chord. So, but when he drops it down exactly where it's going to the B flat chord. Okay, so it's over the C. So he's really telegraphing it here. That's those same notes that we had here for the B flat. That phrase. And then when he's dropping down to these notes, again, it's part of the B flat chord that we're still on. So he's really outlining the changes so perfectly. The next phrase, he's slightly stepping out of the harmony, I guess, but it's still B flat, where he's going, it's bending up to those 2 notes that we just had. And then stepping back to the D, where we've hit the D minor chord. So he's still outlining the harmony. This is a little bit slightly out, because you get this kind of sound, adding the, I guess technically it'd be the 9 and the sharp 11 over the B flat. It's still in the key. It's just notes that are a little bit chunky. It gives a little bit of dissonance, which is, again, it's a beautiful thing to have in there. You want to have a little bit of crunch in a solo with it, you know, harmonically. Makes it kind of has nice impact. And again, you get that slightly kind of a jazz concept of dissonance resolving. So you've got this da boo da do da ba da, that kind of slightly outside sound getting resolved to the D minor. So that's kind of where that comes from. And again, he's just going F to C, just as the chords are going F to C. This is just a D minor phrase. Again, a wonderful D minor phrase. So anytime you've got a D, could just explore that for days just on it. Anytime you get a D minor, that's a kind of phrase that you want to be checking out. The next bit is outlining a B flat. Any of you that have done my Hendrix rhythm or the Curtis Mayfield style know this phrase. Okay, John Mayer uses everybody, Stevie, everyone uses this one. So he's using 3/5, which is just outlining the B flat, then the C, then D minor pentatonic back into the D minor part. So really the key thing, the thing that I think you want to take away is a great solo to learn. Really good rhythms, great bending, you've got to work on your bending accuracy. Great for the fingerstyle thing, getting into the Knopfler idea of just using thumb and fingers 1 and 2. Mostly fingers 1 and thumb, okay? I'm not a Mark Knopfler expert because his style is not what I play, but I love exploring it. And the more I do it, the more my fingers seem to be finding the right notes. The key thing, I guess, seems to me, is thumb playing on the beat most of the time, and anything else gets picked up by the fingers. That seems to be a generalization of what it is. I've played through this tune a bunch of times now in this lesson, so if you really want to just play back one of those slow playthroughs and have a look at the fingering that I'm doing. I'm trying to keep it consistent, but because it's not my bag exactly, there may be times where I'm doing it inconsistently, in which case you should decide which one you want to do. I've tried watching videos of Mark Knopfler playing this solo, but there's very few where he plays it exactly the same. So I think the big takeaways that you want to get out of this lesson, first of all, learn the solo. Go through it, learn it. It's a wonderful solo to do. Great fun to play along with the original recording. Something that you definitely might want to try out is playing along at a slower speed than the original recording while you get the rhythmic pieces together, because that's usually the hardest part. Of course, you want to get the bends in tune and all of the phrasing right and stuff, but if you put the original recording into one of those slow downers, I use one called Transcribe, but you could use whatever you like, and then do it at 50% or 70%, whatever speed you can feel like you can get it right, and try playing along with the whole solo at that slower speed. What most people find if they try and play along with the full speed all the time is that they can play some bits really well and then other bits get really sloppy. And every time you play the sloppy bit sloppy, you're making it more permanent and it'll be harder to get it right. So you're much better off slowing the whole thing down, really getting into where the rhythm is, playing along. When I'm doing it, when I'm preparing for these lessons, I transcribe the solo first, then I play it at 50%, 70% speed for some time, trying to pick up the phrasing, because the rhythms that are used by guys like Mark Knopfler are not mathematically exact. They're more human than that, and that's what makes it cool. Now, I'd try and write it out mathematically, like I was doing a book transcription or something, but the reality is it's slightly different, and playing along with the original recordings is by far the best way to do it. And for most of us, playing along with the original recording at full speed is pretty difficult, and you'll find that it's much more successful and actually faster in the long run if you start slower and gradually build up to the full speed. I've also finished prep for the outro solo as well, which is absolutely killer. Amazing guitar playing in that outro. I'll be filming that after I've had a cup of tea when I finish this lesson. So that one will be coming up in your feed very soon as well. Do go and check out the website. There's loads and loads of additional help things that you can get, related lessons, all that sort of stuff. If you happen to be over on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate the support. I'll see you for plenty more lessons very soon. You all take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.